What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to make a bit of a concept video, I guess, or probably more just a discussion type of video on how I think Tatooine could look if it is added into Supremacy in either April or just sometime in the future. Obviously, as of mid-April, or maybe later if it does happen to get pushed back, we are finally getting the Age of Rebellion added to Supremacy, which, as of right now, we know will include both Scarif and the Death Star, but in the last post from Ben Walker did mention that there would be multiple other Age of Rebellion locations, and that was after he'd already mentioned Scarif, so there's a chance we may actually be getting more than those two maps. Well, because of that, I thought it would be fun to go through Tatooine using Open Game Cam, which you can find out more about at the link in the description, and pretty much give you guys my thoughts on how the map could be laid out and why I think Tatooine would be a lot of fun. So without wasting any more time, we are going to jump straight into it. So, going into a bird's eye view of Tatooine, you can see where I've placed each command post throughout the map, and this is just a rough guess of where I think each command post could be, with the Rebel spawn point being all the way over to the left of the screen, and then obviously the Empire spawn would be all the way over on the right side. The A post would be in the hangar area where the final phase is in Galactic Assault, and I actually think this would be a whole lot of fun trying to capture and defend this one, as it is completely protected from the outside obviously, therefore vehicles wouldn't really be of any use, and this whole area would just be between troopers, reinforcements and heroes. It would prove to be a pretty hard command post to capture as the Empire, I'd say, because obviously the rebels would be spawning pretty much right next to it, but with that being said, it does have about 5 or so different ways to get into the center of the landing pad. And so, despite being kind of closed in, you would still be able to flank your enemies and push in, so I actually think this would be pretty balanced, although it would obviously lean towards the rebels, which I guess makes sense seeing as it is the closest one to their spawn. Having that absence of vehicles would be a really nice change. I don't know about you guys, but vehicles just do my head in most of the time, especially in Supremacy when there's about 97 of them walking around all at once, so I just think this command post would be a nice change of pace from most of the other ones on the map. Moving on now to the B post, and this would be over near the Bazaar area, and I think this one would probably be one of the most chaotic command posts on this map when you consider how many different areas the enemies can come from. There's pretty much like 7 entrances into this tiny little outside area, all with really decent cover, and most of them allowing you to flank the enemies as well. So this one would probably be pretty crazy, like I said, because there's really no way to tell where the enemies would be coming from. There is a heap of cover in this area too though, so it's not like you'd be out there in the open the entire time with enemies coming at you from all directions. However, one thing that I think could be an issue is if someone just got in an ATST and stood over to the right side of the Bazaar, as they'd be able to shoot over that wall at anyone on the objective, yet they'd also have pretty decent cover as well. The other thing that would make it a bit more chaotic is that the aerial troopers would be able to get up onto the rooftop of any nearby buildings, making it pretty hard for the enemies. And I was thinking maybe it could just be inside the Bazaar like in GA, but I honestly think that would just be far too chaotic. Moving on now to the C post, and this one would actually be down towards the bottom area of the map, in an area that is currently pretty bare and would definitely need a few changes to make it more balanced. Right now in the GA version it's pretty much empty space, so maybe throwing a couple of downed ATSTs around as cover would make it a little bit more enjoyable, but I also think having too much cover would make it too similar to the rest. I initially thought I'd just put it where the objective is in Galactic Assault, but I thought I'd just move it over slightly, as I think playing in the exact same spots as GA would just defeat the purpose of adding it to a new mode. So even though it is a pretty similar spot, I think it would just be a decent enough change up. Although, like I said, it definitely would need a few changes just to give it a bit more cover and also just to make it look a little bit better as well. Now, next up is the D post, and this one is kind of similar to the Bazaar in that it is right next to the cantina. However, I placed it outside rather than inside the cantina, as I think that would just be far too chaotic, and honestly, once one of the team gets in there and locks it down, I can't imagine it would be very easy at all for the other team to get in there and take it over. By having it outside, there's not only a heap of different directions that players can come from, but again, you've also got that verticality aspect, as players can come from up on the rooftops and either protect or attack the objectives. So I think that would open it up a bit more than having it in the cantina, and not only make it more balanced, but probably a bit more enjoyable too, as I think it would be very frustrating having it inside. Now, last we have the E post, and this would obviously be the one right next to the Empire spawn. Now, I initially thought about putting this one in the junkyard, as I think it would be a lot of fun too, but again, I think just having too many in the same places as GA would just feel like the same game mode, and again, it kind of does defeat the purpose. I thought I'd place this one a bit further back in this sort of little pathway area, since it is a nice combination of being pretty open but also having a heap of different ways to come from, plus a small little rooftop area as well. The only issue I can see with this one is that a rebel vehicle, which I guess would probably just be the stolen ATST like in the sequel maps, would probably dominate this area and just wipe out most of the Imperial troopers. So that might end up being an issue, but honestly that's mostly an issue with the vehicles more than anything. So as you can see, the layout is pretty weirdly shaped in my opinion, but each command post is relatively even distance from both of the spawn points as well as compared to each other, and I think most of the command posts are in positions that would be pretty enjoyable. So overall I think this would be a pretty fun map to play on Supremacy. Obviously my own layout doesn't at all mean this would be the best layout. In fact, I'm almost certain that it wouldn't be the best layout, so feel free to let me know down in the comments where you guys would put your own command post if you did have the choice, as I'm sure there are probably some much better options. I won't lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Supremacy, but I do love Tatooine and I think this would be a really fun map for the game mode, so I hope we do end up getting it, and if we do, I hope it is laid out even somewhat similar to how it was in this video. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like down below and be sure to subscribe with those notifications on so you don't miss out on any more Battlefront 2 videos or live streams. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys stay safe and I will catch you all in the next one.
These are not the